All right, welcome to the Sushi Forum, where we discuss this week's news, proposals, and developments in the Sushi Swap ecosystem. Tangle is out this week, but I've got Orion Muir with me as always. Thanks everyone for coming out. Let's just sort of hop right into some of the news and developments from the past week. Just completed on July 25th, a few days ago. We had the Show You Peck Shield audit, which is the audit for the NFT exchange. This was actually is publicly accessible in the GitHub for Show You, and there were basically like three or four issues that were identified. Or actually, I think it was like six issues identified, and they were resolved. Uh, except one was like the Peck Shield identified a call that could be controlled by the admin, but the admin will be basically the multi-sig with the time lock enabled. So that's just sort of a implementation uh, a detail that they weren't aware of. Um, Moving on, we got the AMA with Sushi CTO Joseph DeLong, and they'll be on imtokens.fans August 2nd at 1200 UTC, noon UTC. Um, Basically, a AMA with Joseph DeLong and I Am Token people. Should be cool to listen. And we've also got the Fair Launch Summit going on right now. If you look on YouTube, you can see Fair Launch Summit. Should be live still, I believe, at least for the next hour. And has Sushi team participation in multiple panels. So you can just find it on YouTube and basically go back to the VOD and see there's at least two panels that have Sushi team members participating. I don't know if you checked that out at all, Orion, or anybody else.
I haven't yet. I actually have it open in a tab, but I haven't watched it at all. It's a good lineup they have and good sponsors.
Yeah, the one panel I caught a little bit of was like a regulatory panel with Omakase and Ross from the Sushi team, which was pretty interesting. Um, we've also got the Trident Team AMA, which happened earlier today on Twitter Spaces.
Did you end up making that one?
No, no. Like I told you earlier, I was watching the
Oh,
GSL
that's right.
finals at like 4 a.m. So I couldn't make the Trident AMA, but I listened to some of the recording, and there's lots of questions and answers in there. It's really good information about Trident. Um, I don't know if anybody had any questions just in the call right here. I could maybe answer from memory if I know it, or if anybody else participated in the AMA and they could chime in as well. All right, seems like maybe everybody's probably listened to the AMA by now. I'm assuming. Um, we've also got uh, popes for people who participated in the Trident AMA. So if you did participate in the Trident AMA, send out, I guess, a message to Tangle would be the best person to reach out to about that. And he will probably set you up if you can uh, try to work with him to uh, show that you were at the AMA because as it is right now, the only way to automate the popes is on Discord, and I think they're looking into ways to automate it on Twitter Spaces.
Hey, actually, we are going to implement like a bot tomorrow for the Trident AMA. So it's going to be like a first come, first serve method because we don't really have like a lot of popes for this. We just have like around like 5,000 popes available for it. So we have taken like a snapshot of the Discord channel. So it's pretty much available to anybody who comes first and try to grab it. And there's around like 280 people from the call on Twitter Spaces. For them, it's already earmarked.
Gotcha. So the Trident AMA Pope will be available to everybody in the Discord.
Yeah, so there's going to be like a retrieval system tomorrow, like up, probably through like a new bot that we're building out. So um, whoever is like a Discord member like today, like they can retrieve it. But the key is like only the first 5,000 people are going to get it.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Tangle was trying to explain that to me, but he was cutting in and out, and I think some of
Yeah,
that
these services
was
is terribly
lost.
bad.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you for yeah, clarifying that. And do you know about this collab land stuff? Because I know
Um,
that was mentioned as well as maybe a integration between the sushi
yeah,
popes and the collab land.
but right now like I'm actually developing like a new one, like where kind of like a reply bot where you just like, so instead of like getting the Pope directly after the call, so that is the issue, right? Like it maxed out. So right now like what we're trying to do is like trying to build like a reply bot where you can just like type like Pope and like you need, and it shows like the last 10 popes you get. So like they can retrieve it directly from Discord rather than having to go somewhere else.
Would that be based on like the user IDs for each person?
Yeah, so no, it's pretty much like the same like how you were getting your popes, like so when you were attending the voice call, like the when you were in the forum call or the AMA, you were getting logged, right? Like after every 10 minutes you were like on the um stage. So same way, once you're locked, all you have to do is you just have to go to the bot and say like pope pop, and it's going to show you the last 10 pops you attended to.
Nice.
All right, awesome. Yeah, thank you for and you're making the bot, Pegbit?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for doing that. It's super helpful.
Yeah, I love seeing how the community's responded to them and the interest. It's definitely taken effect on participation. I'd say I mean, look at the size of the room right now, and we don't even have any.
Well, today we don't. Yeah. I also wanted to just to move on here. I wanted to recognize the Sushi Samurai they've been added as an official role to the Discord. It's basically the support team. So just, I mean, I think everybody in here is pretty well um, has pretty good awareness about sushi. But just in case, like if you're ever trying to get help with a problem, or a transaction failed, or like something is freaking you out and you're trying to get help on the Discord, just make sure if somebody's reaching out and trying to help you that they are a sushi samurai in the Discord, because there's a lot of scammers. And I think I think this happened. I haven't confirmed it, but somebody told me this. I think somebody got scammed out of like a couple $1,000s, like maybe a week ago or something, in the Discord. So something to always be aware of and be careful.
Yeah. There have been a lot of people. For example, Maka. There were at least like 5 different people impersonating him and hitting people up, and I believe that's how the person got scammed.
Oh Jesus, that's awful.
That's why we need custom avatars for all the sushi samurais. Only Tangle's repping it so far, I think.
Oh, they did copy his avatar too.
Yeah,
Very,
but Maka's is more kind of readily available, whereas I mean, I screen capture and it's not much different. But yeah, I don't know. It's a shame. Is there any updates on the Sushi Samurai, if that's going to go to vote, or how that proposal is working out?
I am assuming it is basically implemented already. But I don't have official confirmation on that. Oh, okay. Yeah, HHK says still waiting on the vote. So I guess there's probably going to be a.
yeah, we haven't really. There hasn't really been a snapshot for it yet, has there?
I think they're just waiting for like the main proposal to go out first, and then like all the ones that are like pending would join later.
Okay, yeah. The sentiments seem to be 100% in favor, at least on the forum. So I think we're just working under the impression that it's probably going to pass.
Yep. Yeah, that's sort of oh, I'm forgetting the word I was trying to use there, but that's sort of like a hallmark of sushi. A lot of plans like once there's positive community sentiment for it, a lot of it will just get like just implemented, just like straight up without even the on chain. Just partly to work out kinks and also to affirm efficacy, I guess. Um, but yeah, I am also expecting that to obviously pass a on-chain vote. And just to move on a little bit, I also wanted to announce that there's going to be an index co-op AMA on Tuesday. Was not given a time on that, but something to keep your eye out if you are interested in index coop. And the other sort of topic that I wanted us to touch on today was the Sushi Phantom Troop proposal, which we had we've had like 2 whole weeks of like active community discussion about. And the current state of it is I'm pretty sure as a community we're pretty comfortable with at least the format of the raise, like 50% for community, 50% for strategic partners, some sort of, either just market price or TWAP price for the sushi, and then on top you get some sort of call option type uh, synthetic crypto native asset that will basically give you sushi. Um, it'll pay out in sushi, and it's a call option on the price of sushi, if that makes sense. I think it does. So the community is pretty comfortable with that, at least from my perspective. It seems like they are. But the team is concerned about regulatory issues, and so they're sort of putting a slight pause on a raise until they can clarify some of the regulatory concerns. Is what I have heard. Now, that might have changed in the past couple of days, but I'm pretty sure that's the current state of things. And I was just sort of curious if anybody had, like, if they weren't happy with the structure where it's like some either market price or TWAP of sushi, and then you get the call option for free. Um, or yeah, if anybody had any continued comments about the strategic raise, this is a good place to do it.
I find the hesitancy over regulatory stuff kind of interesting from sushi because we've seen kind of like an organization that, while we did things right from the beginning, where we wouldn't be labeled as a security, they've been pretty like it's I wouldn't call it reckless, but it seems like the general philosophy has been to push the cutting edge. So for this to kind of be a uh, a slowing factor in something that has driven a lot of stir, a lot of positive attention, is kind of interesting to me because I just don't think regulation, like right now, we're kind of in the middle of a lot of regulatory fear and stuff, but just the movement of this type of legislation and these type of decision making are so slow. So to try to be responsive to that, um, I wouldn't. I'd be of the philosophy that I wouldn't let it slow up what you see as progress. But do you have any insight into what exactly like is it the idea of being labeled is it the it's just taking in strategic investors with financial agreements or what is exactly
Well, I uh, I believe the concern actually originates from the public raise portion of it. Now I'm not a legal at anything, so I'm not really a person to comment on like international security law, but I believe that is where the concern is coming from, based on comments I've heard from Makase. Um, And I also believe that the team is still planning to put it to a vote to have the community be able to vote to confirm at least the team's potential ability to do the raise. Like they have the community's will to do the raise, I guess, but that isn't a guarantee that they will do it. If you understand what I'm saying there. Um, but yeah, I mean, like there were a lot of comments in the forum thread as well, talking about sort of regulatory concerns. My sort of takeaway from that discussion from the forums, at least, was, um, and I mean, also, if people disagree, please speak up. My takeaway from the discussion in the forums from, I think it was, oh man, what's his name? He's on the multi-sig. I'm sure you can guess who I'm talking about, but it's uh, I'll get his name. But basically, the takeaway was that any public selling of the sushi token from the treasury constitutes, um, or rather, I'll put it this way. Um, it's that investment contract that you sort of alluded to. That is the issue, is where if people are buying into a raise or the team is selling tokens to people based on the assumption that the price go up and then make money, that I think is a problematic. Um, and again, I am not a legal anything, so you know.
Yeah, no,
Um,
still appreciate the insight, and yeah, that does seem to be the big red herring or whatever of it.
yeah, I mean, I'm curious if, like, if the community has any thoughts, like, what are your thoughts on just like a total, like, no community portion to the raise, but maybe like some token burn, like effectively instead of selling the community portion, it was burned.
I don't know how I feel about that. Um, huh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an idea. I'm, genuinely just curious. I mean, the way I think about it is like it could be good, but also, the team treasury is not circulating supply. So, but I mean, other teams have done similar things where they've burned tokens from their treasury to. But yeah, I'm totally just throwing it out as an idea.
Is that XRP lawsuit still going? Did that ever get resolved?
I believe
Um,
so.
yeah,
I
Oh, I
remember
haven't been following the news, and I did see it pump recently, so who knows?
I remember watching Gary Gensler giving a class. He taught like a whole course on blockchain, and he said, and he's the head of the SEC now, and he said in his own words that he believed that Ripple was a security, but it would be up to the courts to be the ones to make the final decision, even though he would have the ability to stop the whole thing. I don't know. I don't feel like the regulation is as scary as people make it out to be. I mean, I guess it is something, you got to be really, you got to watch really carefully. But I don't think it will kill sushi in any way, or like DeFi in general in that respect.
yeah. I mean, the other thing to think about is like it might scare off strategic partners from investing in sushi, right? Which is like the flip side of it, I think.
Well, what about Uniswap just dumping their $20 million to hire legal
Well,
defense?
yes, that's sort of what my gut goes to. Is just like, well, look at Uniswap. They're literally a U.S. based company.
Actually,
Yeah,
if you look at the proposal, I mean, if you look at the people who pushed it forward, there are literal bureaucrats on there. That was like one of the big points of contention with the whole thing. That's another reason why I don't think it's as regulation is as scary as it sounds.
Well, in the same manner, I trust whoever is advising the Sushi Swap team to use fair caution. I mean, they have a lot of connections to a lot of smart people, and just because one of the industry leaders is taking bigger risks doesn't mean that we necessarily like want to be doing the same direction. If Uniswap jumped off a bridge, would Sushi too?
Well, I mean, why did they jump off the bridge? That's an important question.
To escape the regulators, obviously.
I don't know. I don't see them doing that. I
Right.
expect Uniswap to lobby against the
We got
regulators.
Sheila Warren, number 6 on the proposal, World Economic Forum Executive Committee cryptocurrency lead. I mean, they want it. They definitely want it.
Want you want
DeFi.
what? Oh, DeFi. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just wanted to bring up the sushi raise and sort of, see how you guys felt on it. Are you guys comfortable with say, okay, like putting the regulatory stuff aside, totally ignoring that. Um, in terms of the terms of the deal, are you guys comfortable with a free option or warrant, if you want to call it that?
Like the Yuma KPI option.
Yes, yeah.
It sounds
Because
like a cool idea.
yeah, like because the format right now would be, I mean, it's either market price or some sort of TWAP price, but regardless, like it's basically the TWAP price of sushi that you're buying, and then you get on top of it an added free option that can be with a strike price, between $20 and $100, I'd say somewhere in there. But the important thing is that like last week we had I can't remember his name, but it was a really great community member who came on and had financial background and basically was talking about how like he didn't see why we wouldn't attach a premium to these options. Um, which I mean, it makes like I sort of agree that like I don't see why we wouldn't attach a premium to the option. Um, at least like a small premium. But yeah, I don't know. I'm more of opening it up to you guys.
Anyone? I don't think anybody's really quite sure what that all entails. I think that's why no one's really ready to talk about it.
And what is the expiration date on the option?
Well, those terms haven't been set yet. Um, yeah, those like I think that what we were talking about is I think maybe like a 1 year cliff on, meaning like you don't have access to them until 1 year, and then a 2 year vesting where the options are vested out over those other 2 years, or like something like that, or maybe like a 2 year cliff, 2 year vesting. Probably not that, but a 4 year horizon is I think what they were looking at. So like maybe a year cliff, 3 year vesting, a year cliff, 2 year vesting, something around there. And the strike price and had not been determined, but it seemed like it had been determined that there would be no premium, but that's also probably still all up in the air. I just feel like, especially if like the strike price is like $20 and the option is good for like 3 years, in 3 years, sushi could be $300, $500. So, of that is a pretty heavy discount. Um, Now, also the sort of arguments that are put forth by the VCs and the strategic partners, I think, and this is a good framing. I do agree with this. Is that I mean, yeah, you're selling the premium. Yeah, the premium is free, but you're effectively selling sushi at a higher price while sushi is at a lower price. And yeah, in 3 years, it would be selling sushi at a lower price than the current price. But from right now, it is technically like selling it at a higher price. Is how they frame it and how they would look at it. Um, but yeah, yeah, like I think these terms need to be more concrete before people have heavy feelings one way or the other. Is sort of what I'm sensing. But yeah, if anybody else disagrees.
Ponzi related
Yeah,
to that, sorry to cut you off. He's saying that maybe 1/5 of the amount, warrant to sushi ratio would probably be more appropriate, he says there.
Sorry, what do you mean by that?
Like instead of doing a 1-to-1, one sushi per one warrant,
Ah, I see.
you're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
0.2.
yeah. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think things like that are a good idea. The other idea is to reserve some of the profits from the call option for sushi themselves. So, like, I mean, I guess in a way that's just selling 50% of the call option, which what you were saying was 20%, but um, because for if you bought 5 sushi, you'd get one whole sort of call on a sushi, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting out of that.
Yeah, I mean, that would make me a lot more comfortable with, like, say, a $20 strike price. Now, if the strike price were like $50 or, maybe even higher than that, which I don't know how I feel on strike prices higher than $50, but I mean, I'm open to it. At strike prices that high, I do fear that, like, if we minimize the any sort of discount or potential profit in the future, then it can make the deal just not very appetizing. And the entire point is to like
Yeah,
if they would prefer to buy
worse,
on
right?
market for sorry, what's that?
It could be worse, right? Like potentially in the long run. Like we didn't want to sell at a 15 to 30% discount, but it might just end up being much.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like if the strike price is like $20 and come 2 years, 3 years from now, you can redeem like 95% of a sushi, be- um, or maybe it'd be like 90% of a sushi. Um, that is that is a 30 or 35% discount. So yeah, it's it's funny the way like sort of you just reframe the discount in a different way, and people are like, "Oh, where did it go? It's just in the future."
It's a funny kind of analogy to some of the QE and fiscal spending and stuff. Like, oh, it just like a discount now that's this terrible thing, but something that could be much bigger in the future. Oh, that's in the future. We don't need to worry about it. Or global warming kind of analogy and stuff. Did you have something to say, Crypto Bunker? I feel like you've been trying to
yeah,
speak.
yeah. I was just saying, like, when I asked Jeff about the strike price, he sort of just like shot it down as like not really mattering. But I guess I was just kind of confused about like why it didn't matter. Like you know what I mean? Like he was kind of just like, we can like argue about price, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect anything. Is that true? Like, is there no um I don't know, like if we just talk about that a little bit. I guess I might just be confused about like um yeah, and maybe I'm just like not as knowledgeable on this stuff, but just confused about like the exact terms of how this works. So I don't want to like bring us back, but I also want to make sure that like if there's any other people who are kind of confused about it, that maybe like a basic explanation of it would help.
Yeah, no worries. So so he's not here to either defend himself or explain what he was meaning by that, but I am going to assume that what he meant by that was that like last week and the week before, technically the discussion was not on the like the strike price and expiration and those specific like number terms in the deal, but rather the discussion was sort of about the structure of the deal. Like, is it we're just selling discounted sushi? Is it discounted sushi with a lock? Is it
Right.
market price sushi with a lock? Is it market price sushi with no lock and option? Is it market price sushi with option and a lock? And all these different ways you could structure the deal. And so I'm assuming when he said that that is sort of what he meant because obviously strike price matters. I mean, but,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like I mean, I'll also say just to like sort of I don't know, relate with you on that topic. Like I was not super satisfied with like I asked because he kept on harping on the whole warrant versus call
Yeah,
option
that was
thing.
kind of confusing.
And I tried to like narrow him down and I say like, okay, but what we're talking about is a call option type like asset with a strike price and an expiry. And he didn't seem to like like it might just and this is something that because my dad works in finance. Well, not really finance, just vaguely related to finance. I was talking to him about it and he was like saying like a lot of these people they are crazy about their like semantics and their like terminology and like you know because they come from like a totally separate world, like it like the finance world is like very
Yeah,
um
I kind of got that sense too. He was like kind of um a bit like talking down, being like how like it's so basic and like we're just like okay, but like we don't we haven't been in this like financial world our whole lives, so um
yeah, I agree. And so yeah, like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that when he was saying that doesn't matter, like that he was more just he wasn't there to discuss the terms, and the terms will definitely be set by the sushi community. There's not the strategic partners are not setting the terms of the deal. That would be
right.
pretty
Yeah, I brought
pretty
up
crazy.
went to him, yeah, that the $40 just because I mean he himself had that tweet about like the fair value, and I thought that's kind of like it just seems like in like 2 or 3 years like sushi definitely should be at that level, so it just seemed like a pretty fair uh, value. But like I had a question, so if Arca say they're buying like $1 million worth of sushi in this raise or whatever the amount is, it will say it's 1 million. They get 1 million worth of sushi at $8, and then when it hits 40, what happens then? Like how does it just like the basics of it
So you're saying if the strike price
is
is
40, like a 5x from here.
okay, so if the strike price is 40, um, and there's different ways this can be structured, but just using a very basic example of where like it's just one call option, um, yeah, and we can just ignore the expiry right now. So it's at $40. The call option is worth nothing right now. So if the price of sushi is at $80, the call option would be worth I believe this is how it works, would be worth 0.5 sushi.
So they're just giving the money up front. They're not getting sushi until that price hits. Then they're
Yes,
given
yeah,
the
and that's
sushi,
it.
the amount, and it's
Yeah, and
okay.
that's the point of the call option structure, is to make it so that it's like a discount that's conditional on the price hitting a certain level.
Cool. Okay, I just wanted to, yeah,
Yeah, no worries.
straighten that out. Thanks.
Um, yeah, I mean, the yeah, I mean, I think once we hear more specifics about the terms, and if also there's the whole regulatory discussion going on in the background that is concerning the team. So I'm sure once we hear more about that, it will give the community more concrete points to develop their opinions on.
Right.
I don't know if
Okay.
anybody had any other topics or questions or anything they wanted to bring up. It's sort of
Hey,
open.
Turtle,
Yeah, what's up?
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hey, Tangle.
Okay, cool. It's Tangle here. Anyways, sorry, I'm in terrible service, so I apologize. I think I sound like you guys touched on the popes already and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, yeah, Pegbit actually helped me out and
Oh,
sort of
awesome.
brought up some of that stuff as
Wicked.
well.
Cool. All right. Well, then, if anybody has any further questions on that, please, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Sorry, it's been a process here with the popes, but we're doing our best to make sure we deliver. So, yeah, and again, I think you touched on the Trident AMA as well that we had earlier today. That's up on YouTube as well. So, if you touched on that already, I'm sure. But
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
one thing I wanted to ask you,
cool.
Tangle, is do
Yeah.
you know the time of the AMA on Tuesday with Index Coop?
2 seconds. I can look at the calendar. I think it's in. So I've got it in at. This one would be. I think it's at 1600 UTC. I think 1600 UTC. Did you get that?
Yeah, 1600 UTC, which
Cool.
I think is
I
8 p.m.
think that
EST. But yeah,
Doesn't sound right
1600
to me.
UTC.
that's when it is. I'll make announcements and everything, but I'm pretty sure it's 1600 based on what I'm seeing here on my time. So Sunday, pending that's all groovy and all good to go.
Cool. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tangle.
Yeah, you bet.
All right.
guess
Oh yeah, go ahead.
The sushi trope,
Thank you, Turtle.
phantom trope thing. I was curious, like, if the sushi team, or if they were getting any, like, if there's any modeling done on price expectation, or in terms of, like, or by the UMA team of some of these options and stuff, just because it's such a intangible thing to think of what sushi's price will be in 4 years. Like, I love hearing the optimism of all my fellow sushi simps and stuff, but who knows, like, what the future will bring with legislation, with technology upgrades and stuff. Does sushi have, like, if somehow another chain takes lead that isn't EVM compatible, will sushi have the treasury to be able to develop and build on there? Like, there's a lot of what ifs where even though I think Sushi's doing everything right in terms of building the infrastructure to be the lead in all of these other um, sections. Vasm, could you please, if you mute your mic? Yeah, I just I'd love to see data by some sort of data scientist that looks at the standard deviations, the volatility of, I mean, obviously, if you're taking your data from altcoins from 2017, this is much different than any of those, but the average projection to the next bull run was terrible for the most part. So it's an interesting topic to me that my mind has trouble conceptualizing.
Yeah, there are
Está la
quite a few.
puine naman.
Huh. Yeah, there are a few things that we really Like
Tak
you wouldn't
świje, Rama, tak świje.
really keep
Mimo
in
czego,
consideration.
dobry.
Can you mute him?
Jest to plakacie.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's all good. Yeah, like I don't think anybody keeps in consideration things like inflation. I guess quite a few different things. Really, I think the next bull runs around when regulation would come in. No one's gonna actually invest their money into a volatile asset, at least like pension funds and stuff like that. I think that's like the next big boost that we would see. What's the all time like? What's the really what the aim for on the strike price is? Like twice all time high or?
I mean, yeah, I mean that's sort of open to the community to put forward. I one sort of number I was thinking of was like 2x or 3x all time high. Um, but there's other numbers people throw around as well.
I think the comparative value work you can do is like look at, what Uniswap's trading at compared to its, FDV to TVL ratio and stuff like that. And there's like basic numbers you can look at where Sushi Swap looked really undervalued. And like as a community member and talking to other ones, I think a lot of the concern was just that they were going to sell at a discount while it already appears to be at a discount.
One thing that I've noticed is Sushi, like historically, always trades at a discount to like its quote unquote like fair value, which I don't know why. I don't know why that is, but as somebody who's like farmed and been in sushi since the start, it's like always been like this. And
I saw a stat the other day that was like something like 80% of DeFi users use Uniswap as their main DEX or something like that. I don't know if that's like correct, but it might just be people projecting like um, just like network effects, I guess, and thinking like, okay, Uniswap's the winner, and like that's it, like that's it. It's sort of like Bitcoin's the winner, and that's it. Like that's some people trade on that. They're just like who has the most people using it, and that's like the main thing. So that's kind of the only thing I can think of, because if you look at yeah, like the fair value of it just even now, like what Jeff said, it should be around like $40. So it is a little confusing, but it's a confusing time. I think people are like in between, like are we gonna go into like this bear again, or are we like just warming up for the next part of the bull? I mean, I'm more of like I mean I'm sure most people are more like bullish that are like in the community, but yeah, I mean I guess it depends on regulation, like you said. That's kind of, I mean, do you have any more information on that? You mentioned regulation. Like KYC, is that what people are worried about, or is there something else?
sorry, who was that question directed to?
I think you, Magic Turtle, you mentioned that the team was concerned about regulations, like behind the scenes or something, but
Oh, yeah, it's I don't know if it has anything to do with KYC. Though KYC might be KYC could potentially be a solution to the problem, but I don't think KYC is being considered right now. I don't think that's going to be sort of on the table for the community raise. But definitely should wait until we get official statements about that.
Yeah, I think it was mostly in regards to being labeled as a security, if I had to guess. And it would be so interesting to if Sushi was one of the, because like in my mind, I see Sushi as one of the few ones that is very capable of escaping this whole dystopian KYC future that the FATF and is pursuing.
for sure, yeah, because they just gave it out right at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like for example, like Chainlink or something else like that. It's like it's different.
Yeah, there's no ICO, there's no pre-sale. Even with Uniswap, they did an airdrop for past liquidity providers, which in a way is sort of like I mean that has to be figured out in the court, but in a way it's a little bit like a pre-mine or a pre-sale for like the uh large users beforehand. But I mean, all that stuff is sort of super, super gray, and I'm sure it can be argued both ways in court. But the sort of quote unquote fair launch type format from Sushi is, I think, a lot more defensible.
Yeah, I don't think enough people have figured that out or have done, enough work on just like the what ifs of that and which ones would be more successful in that. So.
Yeah, but I think it's a wild card. Like, we're basing this all off of the labeling of a security as defined in the stock market world, where it is the legislation that gets pointed at crypto. I mean, if you see the thing that happened today, the last minute changes they are doing to vocabulary, to terminology, the vagueness that always ends up in these bills, um, it's hard to really know what criteria they're going to end up selecting and what is going to make someone is going to make a platform more immune to being going after than not. Security is just one axis of a bunch of them, and in terms of economic threat to the establishment, the banking system, to things like that, I think Sushi is one of the bigger, has a target on its back to the people that, I mean, to the people like Elizabeth Warren who are having this fear, who maybe have some sort of allegiance to the banking system. Um, I could think of very few other ones that would be less of a target than Sushi. I mean, I even remember on a previous call long ago, like part of Maki talking about the vision for Sushi Swap becoming like the bank of DeFi and stuff, and let alone with collaborations with the Iron Bank. There's so many of these parallels, and this um, whole ecosystem we're building out just leaves a lot of vectors of attack for potential legislation that can go in a lot of directions.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What I was going to say is I think the an analog or analogy that I've heard the team make is describing Sushi as like trying to become like a prime brokerage, like central uh, DeFi marketplace.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it's funny, like Elizabeth Warren she's actually supposed to be against the banks, apparently. Like people say that she's always been against like big banking. So I just think she doesn't understand. She's just like doesn't understand
So, man, she
like
doesn't
crypto
like
at all.
random
We can just
puzzles.
go off the track
Boomer.
record. We can just go off her
Yeah,
track record.
Brandon,
She makes a lot of gaffes left and right.
solving random problem. Yeah,
Yeah, we just
solving
need
the
to get
random
these
puzzle.
boomers out of out of politics. Eventually they'll be out and then we'll be fine.
She's anti-commercial banking, but pro-central banking. So I think that's an interesting distinction with her.
That's funny.
Bullish on
That's super weird.
CBDCs.
Yeah, it's funny, like the Democrats are supposed to be like, I don't want to get political, but I'm just saying like they're supposed to be like progressive or whatever. Like Mike Novogratz always says, like crypto is supposed to be progressive. So we need to like teach people that, like, it's like banking the unbanked. It's like becoming like, self-sovereign or whatever. Like I just feel like maybe either they don't understand it or they do understand it and they're just not actually acting in the best interest
Oh,
of
they
like
definitely
the
don't
people.
understand it.
I think it's both. I think they're bad actors and they don't understand it.
Yeah, probably. I think probably both.
Listen, if Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey don't understand that Bitcoin is not going to be the worldwide currency we all use day to day, if they don't understand that, I have no hopes for politicians.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sure you guys are right that there are some bad actors as well. All
What
right. I mean, this is. Oh, sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
Sorry, no, I just had a quick. What do you think is worse, a VC or a politician?
Oh,
Everybody,
politician easily.
they're all bad.
All right. So I think this is getting to a good place to sort of wrap up. If anybody has any last comments or questions that they
Turtle,
want to bring up. Oh yeah, go ahead, Tangle.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think he just dropped. He's having some.
One,
There he is.
one, just last thing here. Did you guys talk about the samurai on the right hand side for support?
Yes. Yeah.
You
We
guys
touched on the
that? Okay,
samurais.
perfect. Cool. Wicked deal. That's all I needed. So right on.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any last question? Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna bring up, in case anyone here didn't hear, anyone listening, there was the sake airdrop, NFT airdrop, or at least they announced that the snapshot was taken, but you had to hold at least 0.1 sake. So just bringing that up to receive the Neo Sake NFT.
Yeah, definitely check that out if you've got some sake.
Yeah, what about the LSD, the NFT? Like, do you have to actually own a full token to be able to like display it, or how does that work? Because I own just like a portion of one. Can I just like, I guess do I just have a token, or how does that work?
I believe you redeem a full token. I think you redeem the token for the NFT, and then you can redeem the NFT for the physical blotter paper. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that I should probably
Someone
double check that.
General wrote that the NFT can be redeemed for a 19 by 19 900 tab piece of blotter paper with the artwork on it.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go. But all right, guys, this was a good sushi forum. I appreciate everybody coming out and participating. It was a great discussion. Yeah, thank you guys for coming out. I will catch you next week, same place, same time, 9 p.m. UTC in the Sushi Swap Discord. Yeah, thanks guys for coming out. Stay safe.
Wicked. Thanks, Turtle.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Peace out. Always